Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. This is Deanna. Let me make sure everything is up. Great to see you. And I am plugged in. Oh, I am plugged in. Great to see you. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Made it through half of the week already. Fantastically great, isn't it? Whew, it's springtime now. Are you getting this massive heat wave that we're getting here? I am definitely perspiring, if not expiring. Let's see who is on this morning. I just want to let you know, in case you didn't tune in Monday, this is a super live show today. We are returning to the project that we started on Monday, which is a seat of the pants, do it as you go, ready, set, hook. Right? Remember that show, Ready, Set, Cook? I love that. We started by drawing, if you were with us on Monday, a pattern right onto our backing material. And I just started cutting up t-shirts and pantyhose, and we just started hooking it together. So we're going to return to that this morning, and that'll be a lot of fun. I just want to say good morning to Anita. Great to see you this morning. Just stopped to have your Tim Hortons coffee. I have heard of Tim Horton. So that's like one, by the way, I'm in Massachusetts, and I'm across the way from the Creation Station. So I'm going to be working on the book later today, but I'm standing like in the living room right now. So different set behind me. There's a band over there at the Creation Station. They're just leaving because they stayed last night. And oh God, they're from Berkeley School of Music. And I just sat over there for a minute. It's they're playing like the sitar and the tar, these really unusual, like many stringed, many fretted instruments. It's just such beautiful music coming from over there. And we're doing our hooking over here. So it's very artsy day here. I've heard of Tim Hortons, and I think they are like the Dunkin' Donuts of Canada. Am I right in thinking that? So funny, Anita. Good to see you. Jane, my love, good to see you. I didn't get a message from you yet. I was getting worried about you. Stormy and mysterious in Wales. So I like the mystery part of that. That sounds very Bronte, doesn't it? The mystery, stormy part. And I bet the storm will blow over, right? Always does. Kirsten, great to see you. You're working on a teacup. Oh, excellent, with the cat flowers. You know, I was really happy. Candace, I think, posted a picture in our Facebook group, which is Rug Cooking and Punch Needle Club, of the piece that she started. And it was like a beautiful picture that I think said life is beautiful. I still have not seen that movie. I know I would. That movie is going to just break me up and choke me up and all of that. It's got to be the right time, I think. But it's just a beautiful composition. I absolutely love it. Candace, if you're on, I'm not down in the thread yet. Maybe you're working on that too. I think Candace is away right now. Oh, Heidi, great to see you. Goedemorgen. No, it's evening. Huda Ava. Good to see you. You're making tea, and you can use the tea to color the yarn. Oh my gosh, that's a great idea. Coloring with tea is so fantastic. Don't think that I've forgotten about our dye segment that was supposed to happen in January. I just couldn't, right? It's just too much with both of these books slamming at the same time. But yeah, we're getting to a really good place right now, and I am all about the dyeing. And at this time of the year, with things clearing up and springtime finally here, I am thinking about foraging and stuff like that. So don't think I've forgotten about any of that stuff. In the meantime, dyeing with tea leaves is a great way to go, isn't it? I mean, that's really a great way to go. Nice. Isn't it funny how some of the things that you think would dye really well are not color fast? In other words, they're not lasting. I mean, that is really, it's always surprising to me, like, a lot of berries and intense colors function as stains and not dyes, right? Because there is a real distinction between those two things. So I thought interesting to know and important to know how things are going to perform long term, because when we do look at these antique rugs that we often look at from the 19th century, sometimes we're, asking the eternal question, is it faded because... Let me get the van out of the picture there. There's a van. Who cares, right? Who cares? It's still snowy outside, by the way. Sometimes we think, was the thing in the sun, is that why the colors have faded? Well, often not. It's often faded because the color wasn't color fast, right? And all of those berry stains. Interesting. Anyway, conversation for another day, right? Good to see you, Heidi. Good to see you, Kirsten, Jane, Linda H. in sunny Massachusetts. Whew, I'm standing under a bunch of skylights. That's probably why I'm getting hammered with greenhouse heat, right? Robin, great to see you. You got your teacup ready. I can't wait to see these teacups. I'm so excited. Candace, you are there. Good morning. Great to see you. Lori, good morning in Michigan. Great to see you. I'm so happy you're there. checking my volume to be sure that you can all hear me too, because I am in a different place. Linda Ann, great to see you. Good morning, Linda B. Such sweet fun and easy. It is. Isn't it fun doing something seat of the pants? Because it does make you just do, right? And not overthink, just do. This has been like such a big theme with me lately, and I think it's partly because of the spring and partly because of listening to the audiobook, The Power of Now, right? Super inspirational. Just thinking about overthinking. I'm a huge overthinker, and sometimes it's fun to just do or work on a project that doesn't tax like your analytical or intellectual thinking, and it just allows your hands to move, right? And to do something fun and see something pretty work up and evolve in an easy and gentle way. No square pegs and circle holes, right? Just for fun. It is fun to do these projects. We should do them more often. Jane, should everyone send their pieces to Deanna for a gallery night? Yep, I could squeeze a few more pieces in it. It's gonna be full again, but I'm always happy to squeeze, and we could always run into a third gallery night. I will run gallery night every Friday. If there's enough pieces to look at, we will run it every Friday. So absolutely send your gallery pieces to ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. That's perfect. Carol P., great to see you. Happy coffee time. You're back at home now, right? Are you back in Wisconsin? Courtney, great to see you. Good. I haven't seen you for a little while, Ed. Maybe I did. Maybe it's Joy I haven't seen for a little while. Sister trouble. Sue's great to see you in Kansas, and Karen in Colorado. Crystal, good to see you. I'm going to take one of these cough drops. My voice is like coming in and out like crazy. Let me finish saying hellos and then we'll get working. Lynn, great to see you. I might have to run and get a cup of water too. Ryan, you're on. How funny. You're working on your jigsaw puzzle. I just love your world. I want to just come and sit with you at the table, work on jigsaw puzzles, and have drinks, and sometimes hook or punch. That'd be super fun. I got your email too. That's great. I'm getting a lot of pieces for the gallery show. April 16th, all the Van Goghs will go into that, and all of the gallery pieces that you're sending me will go into that. If you are sending me a gallery piece and you're still working on it, that's fine, as long as it gets here before April 15th, right? I'll put it up. I'll leave a space on the wall for you, I promise. But if you're making a piece and I don't know about it, please let me know, because I want to be sure that Pierre knows, while I'm struggling with a sore throat, that Pierre knows how many pieces are going in, because he's really doing, while I'm doing the shout outs, he's doing like the figuring out wall stuff. So just let me know if you are sending, Ryan, I know that you are. Just let me know if you're sending pieces that maybe I don't know about yet, so I have a good kind of estimate in my head. Angela, great to see you in Connecticut. Oh, Angela, good to see you. Good to see you. I forget what piece you're working on right now. I'll be curious. I feel like it's right on the front of my brain and I can't extract. Sharon, great to see you. Fabulous spring day in Vancouver. Dawn, hello, y'all. Back to you. Good to see you and fun chatting with you. Oh, wait a minute. What is Linda Ann? It'll be fun doing a dyeing month in the warmer weather. That's true. That's true. Because I do want to be outside dyeing with like natural dyes as well. That'll be fun. Shannon says, I'm planning on dyeing some silk yarn with red wine because I know red wine will never come out of a silk shirt. Yeah, I have the same experience. I've done the same kind of controlled experiment many times by accident. And it's true, it never will come out. You have to let us know how it goes. Take photos before and after and during and all that stuff so we can all benefit from that. It's not an experiment. You know it's going to work. It'll be a real pretty color, though. I'll be curious to see what color it comes out with, the color that you're using and the color that it might be. It's funny because wine is already kind of processed, right? So everything about it that it is meant to be activated has been activated, unless you put different things on it, like the saddening or gladdening iron or, you know, whatever other things you put into the bath that'll make the color brighter or more somber. Interesting. That's something fun to look forward to. Dave, I missed saying hello to you. You're finishing your coffee and you're working on a quilt today. Oh, amazing. Oh, that is amazing. Monique, hello in England. Great to see you. Monique, tell us what part of England you're in, because Jane is on from England. I'm not sure if any of our other buddies are in England this morning. Well, we do have a lot of buddies there. Heidi says, who is the author from The Power of Now? Oh, it's such a weird name. I'm never going to think of it. If somebody finds it, please put it in the thread. It's a very unusual name. He's like a spiritual teacher. And I have to say, I'm not at a spiritual enough level to be able to use all of it. But what I do like is the part about how you try to be present where you are, and you try not to constantly be looking over your shoulder at the past and constantly looking for points in the future that will somehow make you happy, or that you think will make you happy, because then you're setting yourself weird goals, whether we're talking about life or love, relationships, anything, quilts, hook drugs. If you're constantly looking at the next thing and thinking, when that happens, I'll be happy. When that happens, I'll be happy. It's like signposts to hell and to nowhere. And it's that's the primary overarching idea that I find really useful, because I am constantly looking over my shoulder going, this is what I did wrong. When I get there, I'll be happy. It just doesn't work like that, does it? And like reading and listening to books like this really bring out the finer points of that conversation, right? Elizabeth, great to see you in Biloxi. Snowbird. Oh man, we're getting to the end of it though, even there, right? Great to see you, Elizabeth. Native Tom, you're waiting on Bunny Hop. I just sent it. So that is coming your way. If you have any problems with that because the photo for Bunny Hop is not that great, just let me know. You have way more material in there than you are ever going to be able to use. So if I overdid it and it made it more confusing, just let me know. I'm excited for you to get it though. Linda B, Sharon, I will use the cheapest wine you can find. Why not? It's like cooking, isn't it? Because you're not using it for taste, so you might as well use it for color. Eckhart Tolle, thank you. Robin, that's it. Thank you. That's great. I'm really enjoying it. I keep rewinding it because it's so dense, and I feel like I'm missing these great messages. Thank you. That's really good. Oh, Monique, you're in North Yorkshire. I love York. And I love Scotland. So I bet I know I love the area where you are too. You are very far north, huh? How fun. Carol P. Robin. Okay. Robin, Ryan Reed, I will work on the collage piece while you hook. Okay. Oh, great. You're working on a collage piece. That's super fun. Peace is Every Step is super good. Oh, Peace is Every Step is a super good book too. Okay. Thanks for Dawn, can you Facebook me that so I don't forget that? That'll be the next thing I listen to. I'm listening to things that are keeping me up right now, you know. A lot of pressure when it's a change of season to spring. A lot of pressure to spring into being happy and productive and energized. And while it's a good thing that it is spring and you're maybe feeling those things kick in on their own, there is a little bit of pressure to make sure that they kick in, weirdly, right? All right, let's see. Let's get going. And then I'm going to keep an eye on the thread. So on Monday, I think maybe you were with us. Many of you were with us. The light is hitting me weird, isn't it? Let me come over here. And I got maybe Pup is behind me over here. Are you in the? No, Pup's not in the. No, Pup's not in the frame. You'll see Pup in a while. That's little Apple. On Monday, I was sick and I didn't have time to work on a scripted show, so we started working on a very, very seat of the pants picture of a teacup, and this is on rug warp for me. If you remember, I found this piece of rug warp on the ground. Right, this is how I work, and I just started going with it. So I drew the teacup live on Monday, and if you are joining us now and you weren't with us on Monday, let me show you what it looks like on the back, because we drew a very simple teacup, and the whole point of this exercise today and on Monday was to just start hooking something. Just get the juices going, get your hand doing it. Forget about the connection between your head and your hand. Forget about that, right? That's not really what we're doing. We're just kind of doodling, having fun, cutting up materials that we already have. Some of us are using noodles that are left over from other projects. I was going to use noodles, but I am right now big into using the t-shirts because I just cleaned the kids' closets out, right? So I've been cutting up t-shirts like crazy. And I think where we left off on Monday was, let me come to you a little bit more like this. Where we left off Monday, I was cutting up some of their tie-dye shirts and about to hook in some of the background. And if you remember, the purple that I'm using was actually pantyhose. Pantyhose purple. And I was using the Irish hook, the pen hook, which I really immensely enjoyed using. So let's come back to that. And just a refresher, what I'm doing on my end, while my mouth runs and you work on your stuff, I have a lot of things to chat with you about. But I'm going to cut up some more supplies so I can keep going. Well, I have a couple little pieces of the purple. So let me show you what I was doing here. I'm going to say, I'll see you in a minute. I'm going to show you the table now for a while. And here we are. Beautiful counter surface here. If you remember, on Monday, I had the pantyhose out, and I was just cutting them with my scissors, right? I'm never really careful. Careful is not my middle name. I love freestyling it, right? That's why I loved going across the way just now, because I heard those Berkeley kids playing outside on the back porch, and I thought, oh, I got to get a piece of that. So good. And the girl picked up her guitar and sat right next to me and played this most beautiful song about memories and healing, and oh, it was just so beautiful. It was so beautiful. Really set me up for a great day. Here I am cutting the calamari. No, I didn't have calamari the other day. I had tacos. Almost as good, right? So I'm just cutting it this way, and we did say, here we're coming up to the crotch now, so we'll bypass the crotch. We did say you could also do this kind of thing, right? If you prefer like the longer strip, if you're dealing with nylons pantyhose with this great stretch, they're basically a different kind of jersey, right? How many kinds of knits are there? Oh my God, it's in the hundreds, isn't it? If you know anything about old mills or even like historic types of knits that used to exist, or if you're a knitter, you know, my fingers are so dry, they're catching on everything. You know that there's an infinite amount of knits, particularly that a machine can do, right? So if you think about it, when I'm using my pantyhose material, if I'm cutting it up the leg like that, like north to south, it's going to stretch more this way, right? It's going to stretch a lot this way. The calamari I cut the other way, and it has even more stretch, right? Because it went across the ribbing, so all of the ribbon is opening up, right? So interesting, and they hook a little bit differently because one is more stretchy than the other. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference to the way the thing looks. So let me bring you a little bit closer. I'm looking at your thread too. I see our buddies from the UK chatting. Monique, you are a quarter Welsh. Oh, that is so great. Diana, great to see you. Does anyone know the best way to order bulk linen for creating your own patterns for rug hooking? Well, you know what you could do is, the thing with that, and by the way, just while my mouth runs, I'm going to fill in a little bit more of the outline with purple. I'm going to bring you right over me here, a little bit closer maybe, get this just right. I'll tell you what I do, and it doesn't mean that's what you want to do, but I order all of my wholesale stuff from Door Mill, and Door Mill in New Hampshire, right? So I have a wholesale account set up with them. And if that's a possibility, that's a good way to go about it. I get my linen from Michelle Miccarelli, right? So she has figured out the mystery of how to get that really primo linen, and it's a trade secret, so I would never badger her for it. I just buy it from her, and that is fair enough. Some people are able to, I don't know the answer, some people are able to figure out a wholesale situation where you can get it at a really good price to be able to use it and run a business real effectively. I get mine from her still because I prefer it to any of the linens at Door, right? I prefer the one that I stock. It's a preference thing. It's not a quality thing. It's a preference thing. So that is a huge kind of to be continued, big question mark that hangs in space. At the end of the day, right, the follow-through thought is, well, where did Michelle get it? I don't know, right? And that is kind of her thing to keep, right? Because she figured it out. So she gets the prize on that. But if you figure it out, that's the thing, right? That's like the holy grail. I'm just looking at my lines here, making sure I know where we're going. I would say be careful, particularly with linen, because linen, like monk's cloth, has more than one definition, doesn't it? And some people, sorry, my Kleenex was in the screenshot. I'm so sorry about that. My Kleenex and my Vicks cough drops are in the screenshot. That's super. Linen, like monk's cloth, is tricky because there are lots of examples of it, and not all of them are good for rug hooking, right? So I would just be careful about that. I've ordered small amounts of linen from online, like warehouses, Fabric Warehouse, stuff like that. And when it arrives, it's not at all what I meant. It's more like handkerchief linen that'd be much more suitable to punch into than to hook into. So my answer is, it's either go through Door Mill, or you can get in touch with Michelle Miccarelli to get a whole bolt, right? Because if you buy a whole bolt from her, she'll give you a discount. Or if you have the time to figure out another sort of angle, but if you're experimenting with option number 3, be careful to order small amounts, because both linen and monk's cloth are hardly ever what you think they're going to be. I'm just going to scoot around here because I can see that we are on, oh, yep. I can see we're on battery. So let me make sure that we are not on battery anymore. Yep, it's charging, good. That's a tough one. There's a lot of suppliers for rug hooking stuff that don't require you to be a business to give you a wholesale discount. For linen, you know, I forget what the sort of specs are with door mill, how legit you have to be, what kind of tax ID stuff you have to show and provide. I think you do, actually. I know other companies, not necessarily so. I know everything I do with yarn is through the Maritime family in Maine, and they never required anything. I mean, I have all the stuff, but they don't need it. They allow you to get a bulk discount if you order X amount. And if you're going to do a lot of dyeing, if you're going to be splashing around the red wine or whatever else, it's worth buying a larger quantity, because if you know you're going to need it or use it sooner or later, and you know you can afford to get a large quantity, you will get a huge discount. It's always worth asking. So, yeah, and Linda Ann's answering too. Usually buy by the meter. Yeah, you can absolutely buy by the meter with me or Michelle or any of the suppliers. But if you think you are going to use it to make patterns, ask what the minimum yardage is to get the deep discount. That's the thing. Because it's like, yeah, you can get this discount on this discount on that, but it's kind of a game, isn't it? So you want to ask what the quantity is that you want to get the massive deep discount on. And if you can go for that one, go for that one. That makes the most sense. Just going to do a little more with my outlining here. I'm getting back in the groove, and I am sweating a lot. It is super warm. I have a long sleeve shirt on. I didn't think it was going to be this warm. Not really complaining, because it's a gift, isn't it? So, so I had a long conversation yesterday with Rug Hooking Magazine, and we came up with a bunch of ideas to work together a lot more closely. And I'll keep you updated on all of that stuff, but I threw out a bunch of ideas, thinking about the things that I know that I'm the best at. I'm not the best at everything. I'm certainly not the best at hooking, but I'm pretty good at other stuff, right? Even I can say that out loud. And I think we came up with some good ideas of things that might pop in the near future, so I'm going to keep you abreast of all that. Of course, the book I'm currently working on, the Design Like book, is being published by Amory Press, which is Rug Hooking Magazine's press. And I'm super excited about that. And so many of us have a huge stake in that, because you all are doing, I think there's probably 30 or more chapters at this point, different artists and categories being represented, like not just artists, but like tavern signs, colonial portraiture, like that kind of thing. So subjects as well as individuals and schools of art, right? So with that coming up, you all are doing, I think I'm doing 3, 4, maybe, I think 4. I don't even think it's 5 of the examples, and you all are doing the rest. And after our live show on Monday, I got a design out to my buddy Dawn and Cindy. So those will be the last 2 for this book, just because as much as I want everybody involved always, I'm just thinking that for every book, even though I'm not hooking it, I do have to do the chapter. I do have to write the chapter and get the rights sorted out and all of that stuff. So yeah, so that's a bit of a pinch time-wise. But that'll be super exciting. And yeah, and I was talking with Candace this morning, and I've been talking with a few buddies, Kirsten, about Patreon. And I want to give a huge shout out to everybody who supports me on Patreon. You are supporting the brand. You're supporting the hundreds, well, it's more than 1,000, getting close to 2,000 videos that are out there now, and everything that I'm trying to do in the future for us as a community. And I appreciate the support. And I want to beef up the things that Patreon subscribers are getting. So starting with like this month, with the anticipation for the gallery show that's going up in Hartford, right? April 16, Sunday, April 16 is the opening. I will be doing live, and Candace, thank you hugely for the idea, live content videos that are for Patreon 15 and up, $15 pledge a month and up supporters, so that you are getting unique content of that. I'm going to go interview Pierre in the next week or so, look at his mosaics, his hook drugs, his needle felting, all the great projects he's doing. I'm going to be putting out some content that is for Patreon 15 and up, so that you feel like you are getting something extra special that will not be released publicly for quite a few months. And I will start to release for Patreon pledgers the designs that are in the Design Like book, right, piecemeal, and some of the progress of the designs being made by the different designers. So that content will be there for Patreon supporters and, of course, when the book comes out, for everybody. But in the meantime, if you want to jump start on that, you love the brand and you support that way, I really appreciate you. And I want to put more stuff out that is a exclusive kind of thank you for that group of people. So, yeah. Now, how's it going with your hooking? Is anybody having huge struggles, right? Even if you've been hooking for ever, there are some days when you just struggle, right? It's like there's some days that I just can't get my hair right. I can't get the brush through it the right way. And I've been doing that for 51 years. Some days are just better than others, and you don't know why. I'm working with pantyhose material, pulling stuff through right now, and I'm probably going to finish up the edge of this flower and then move to the teacup. Because remember how we were saying on Monday, at least for me with the project I'm working on, and for you it'll be different with your different cut-up t-shirts or your different leftover noodles, whatever materials you're using. Right now, if you're working with me, it'll be different for you. But for me, I'm loving working with these purple nylons. And, Jean put up a link in our Facebook group to, remember I was talking about those little pot holder loops that are available on Amazon and like in old-timey country store kinds of places, not universally at all. And they're a bit tweedy. They're actually polyester. I thought they were cotton, but they're polyester. And they're not solid. So Jean put the link up on our Facebook group to that on the thread to Monday's video, if you're interested in linking to that. Also, if you look up on eBay potholder loops, they'll pop up on there too. And you do get these giant bags that are basically like the calamari that I'm cutting out of my purple pantyhose. And yeah, I mean, it's just fun to hook with. It's small little pieces too, right? And if you are at all allergic to wool, it's great to use a material that is not wool, right? Something different. I was thinking a lot in the last 24 hours about, what we do here and us getting together. And I'm thinking just more and more about how important inclusion is. And that's one of the things I brought up with the conference call yesterday. I said, for me, anything that's linked to me has to have this backbone of inclusion in it, right? I have to only associate this brand with welcoming, friendly, open-armed kind of philosophy, because a project like this, I hope, is sending you the subliminal message. I really don't need expensive materials to do this. I really don't need a lot of expertise to do this. Right now, I have a pair of dirty pantyhose that I've cut up with a pair of kitchen scissors, and I'm making something out of it, right? So this is just demonstrating that philosophy absolutely works. And you can go as sort of fine, I was going to say highfalutin, but that sounds judgmental. And I'm not judgmental about fine materials, because I love to find a good rug hooking store, and I love emptying out the bank account, finding pretty things to put into my stash. But that's not historically what this craft has been about. And people coming to this craft who are not wanting to make massive investments at the outset, people coming to this craft who are younger that don't have like unlimited funds, right, should know for sure that they are absolutely able to and likely to produce beautiful, important, heartfelt, sincere, high quality work with the most basic materials, right? I'm using this pencil hook, and I don't even know where I got it. In some kind of a haul, I got it. I didn't buy it at a store, that's for sure. Although I am enjoying using it. You could also be using your crochet hook, right? My favorite one, again, is number 3.5 millimeter. And yeah, you use whatever you use to get from point A to point B. And yeah, that's the thing. Making sure everybody who wants to can jump in. Now let's see, Ryan said, I've been struggling coming up with new ideas for punch pieces after getting the two ready and shipped to you. Now I'm waiting for the spark of inspiration so I can get back to punching. Yeah, but you know what, Ryan? I think you're doing absolutely everything right. Oh, Ryan says, will there be a video content for the gallery show for non-Patreon members? Well, yeah, the whole set, that I will definitely document the gallery show because you're all involved in that. So that's an absolutely huge yes. As far as hanging it in all of, like, there's going to be a lot of footage in preparation of that comes out right before the gallery show opens. So all of that pre-stuff will be Patreon, but so many of you have sent your pieces. Of course, I'm covering that hugely. So don't worry about that. It's just the extra footage and the first look at everything that goes along with being a Patreon member. So that's a huge yes, Ryan. I would never, you're sending me your beautiful pieces. Of course, I'm going to document it really well so you can see it too. But all of the extra stuff, all the behind the scenes and the extra content, and there'll be more and more of that with all of these events that are coming up and books that are coming out. All of that sort of behind the scenes stuff and future glimpses and peeks at. Some of that will be Patreon only. And other stuff will be everybody. If it's group stuff, it'll be everybody, right? I'm not gonna withhold interesting gallery stuff because you all sent a lot of beautiful pieces, and that will be there. It's just the extra stuff. And Ryan, I hear what you're saying about inspiration because it's definitely not always there. And I think what you're doing, you're making a puzzle, right? And that's so mechanical. And I feel like that's exactly what makes sense to do. If you are not feeling inspired right now and you try to force yourself to come up with a design, it's probably not going to be your best design, right? Because you're not feeling it. So since that's the case, I think doing something mechanical with your hands, like making a puzzle, right? It's still creative, and you're still looking at colors and shapes and the way things lock together. I think that's the perfect kind of activity to do while your brain is churning and thinking. And not to be like negative, but it might be that you're not in a creative thing for right now, for today, for this week, for this month. You never know, right? That's the thing. And if it works while you're composing and synthesizing new ideas in your head, catching all kinds of inspiration from different places, right? It's all figuring together in your head, and it's going to come out like your past pieces with a huge colorful pop and a lot of sort of confidence and assuredness that that's what you meant to do. And you'll know when that happens again because you knew before. Hey, Lisa, good to see you. And Heidi says, including a good theme. So it's easy to spread rug hooking in Belgium too because it's so difficult to get wool. Absolutely. Here, let me come over here so I'm not so much in the sun. Absolutely, Heidi. Yeah, I mean, using any kind of materials is it, right? Because you know why we moved toward doing wool, right? And just talking about wool exclusively. It's because of all the certifying and everything in the 20th century. It absolutely is. And putting together kits that were pre-made and swatches that were pre-dyed, and everything was done in a very technical and very specific way. And that way is wonderful. And that way continues to be wonderful, right? And that school of making continues to be the backbone of the craft. I'm just going to get out. Remember how I said in the teacup? You know, let me hook the face first. Let me hook the face, and then I'm going to do the tie-dye. That whole moment in the history of hooking is so important for all of our sort of infrastructure, right? Learning how to dye, learning how to shade, learning how to make swatch sets. That's all super important. But having said that, that was also about buying stuff, right? Buying stuff ready-made. And when you think about it, and I talk about this a lot, but I think it's a point that's worth returning to. Paint by Numbers came out in 1950, right? That was the height of the Pearl McGowan era too. And if you think about it, people at that moment, during that post-war period, they were very used to being not just shown, but told how to do things, right? Told what to buy, told all the pieces you needed, and if you could afford to, you would go ahead and do it. So, let me get you, wait a minute, I'm just getting you situated a little bit better. Oh, I put you on battery again, shoot. Nope, all good. Because of that whole movement, a lot of people got used to needing to have the entire kit always for everything. And then a lot of rug hooking stores opened, right? And there you are. And we're selling things that way. And it's just like needlepoint. Like, have you been to a needlepoint store lately? When I toured, which is now like 10 years ago, or 11, because Teddy's 11, the needlepoint stores I went to, I bought a bunch of Vogue covered needlepoints. I think I bought 5. They were each well over $500. They were between $500 and $700 each for like the thing to be drawn on the backing for me and for the thing to be put together as a kit. Now, I had that money then, and it was no problem to spend it because that's what I wanted to spend it on. I have to show you those one of these days because they are so pretty. But the idea of kitting things is a fairly recent idea because in the 19th century, just deciding how to do the eye, I have a tail up, one loop. I think I'm going to do tail, 2 loops, and then tail. So if you're doing the same pattern as me, I am going to bridge this area here for a distinction between the eye and the cheek. But yeah, I did 2 loops and 2 tails. I think we can safely, in this day and age, while we are such resourceful people again, right? We're becoming really green, really capable people again. We can find stuff on our own. We can find stuff at thrift stores. We can find stuff in our own closet. You don't, and I have a rug hooking business, right? So this isn't like in my best interest to say, but you really don't need a rug hooking store to do this, right? It's easy, and if you like the stuff, you should, and please keep doing it. That's my business. But at the same time, if you're somewhere like Heidi is, and you are in Belgium, and there is no sort of rug hooking store outlet for wool, and yeah, you can get wool for tailoring. It's not going to be the right kind of wool. It's going to be a real thing. Right? It's going to be a real thing, getting the right material and working with it in a way that it's not super frustrating because it's not the milled wool that we're used to in the rug hooking world. So yeah, the further you get away, Heidi, from the traditional rug hooking materials, ironically, the closer you get to the traditional rug hooking materials. Because the original materials were pantyhose, right, Grenfell style, cottons, silks, velvets from ripped jackets or last year's fashions. Those are the original materials, right? Milled wool, not the original materials. 20th century invention. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. We'll call it like it is. I'm finishing up the little cheek here. Oh, Marilyn says, I almost missed. Oh, well, you got there, Marilyn. You didn't miss it. You're right there. Grab your project and join in. Grab whatever you're working on or just sit and hang out with us. And Karen says, I go to the museum when I get stuck inspirationally. That's a good conversation to start up, Karen. That's a good conversation. In fact, I just started talking about that when I went over to see, the music that was playing on the back deck over there. I was talking to the girl, Clarissa, and we were talking about inspiration just briefly. And she said, I just painted she said, I'm not much of an artist, but I just painted my mailbox in the style of Mondrian. And I said, absolutely perfect, right? She said, that's one of my favorite modern artists. And I said, modern art is so subjective. It's so filled with line, design, energy, embedded stories. And, I said, all kinds of art is great to get into, but when you're looking for just blanket inspiration, it's great to look at modern art. I really feel like it is. For me, for color, and I did it again with the stupid battery. All right, hang on. There we go. I'm just going to cut up this t-shirt, and now I'm in my own shadow. I got weird shadows going on, but you can see what I'm doing sort of here, right? Yeah. You know what? Let me turn you here. I'm going to come around the bend. I'm going to cut this t-shirt, and I know you've seen me do this before, so this is not rocket science. Now, what I was feeling for with this t-shirt was a seam, and there is no seam around the body. It's another piece of calamari, right? No seam on the sides. So I got nothing to cut into that way, but I'm going to lift you way up, actually, because I'm going to do something different here. Yeah, there's a lot of light streaming in, but it's nice and bright at least. I'm going to cut this up in a different way because I want to use the most possible. So I'm going to start by cutting off this bottom border. And you could actually hook with this too, but it is folded up, like the bottom of most t-shirts. It's folded under, and it's got 2 lines of stitching, so I don't necessarily want that in my piece. It would be like hooking with the selvage of wool, right? Did I get my free little library up and running, Suze? Thank you so much for asking. We did. It took forever, but somebody from the neighborhood, backstory on that, I had painted this beautiful little library. I bet the mailbox reminded you of that, right? I painted this beautiful little library about 5 years ago that is in our front yard. And it's like a great source of, it's an over the top. It's a huge one. It's not like a little one. It's massive. It's a massive cabinet. And I did all this elaborate hand painting on all the sides, all these scenes, not just like patterns, but it was so cool. And I really have enjoyed watching people use it. and take books out. I love seeing people pull up. It's pretty much constant, like, because we live in a very busy neighborhood right outside Yale. It's pretty much constant, but I love seeing people pull up with their books and put their books in and take some books out. And a while ago, a guy who was not very well mentally came and knocked it down and like shattered it in 1,000 atomized pieces. And and the whole neighborhood was kind of upset, you know. And I mean, it was so broken. One of the guys in our neighborhood who was a carpenter said, I can fix it for you. And he took a couple of months, but he did. And it's back up now. And not only do I see the people coming and going, which is such a good feeling, but it gives Buttons, my dog, our Yorkie, something to do, because whenever anybody comes to the library, he goes out of his mind barking, right? It's like it's something to do. It's really like the essence of his day is alerting us to the fact that somebody is at the library. So it brings a lot of pleasure to both the neighborhood and to the dog. I'm really happy that it's back. We had like a little party when that happened. I'm looking at this t-shirt, and you know how I wanted these really subtle colors to be in my, let me get out of the light. I wanted these subtle colors to be in my, you know what? I'm coming around the bend here. Hang on. I'm moving us again. The light is changing. And I'm going to come over here. Let me get rid of this. You keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to move us around a little bit. I'm with you here. Hang on. I'm going to find a better way to get with you because the heat is killing me too. Let me move this. Let's see, because I want to keep looking at your comments. But, oh, that's better. I think we're still well in the sun, but let me see if you can see me better. Let's see if you can see my hands better. You see my boobs, but let's see if you can see my hands. I'll come over here for a minute. So remember how, like, with the teapot, I wanted to use some of this tie-dye, and it is super subtle. At the bottom, it's a bit too white, right? So I know that was so sad, the little library. I'm going to cut up further in the shirt. So let me do that. I'm going to move you again. Come over here. Come over here with me. There we go. Yeah, I'm just going to cut up further. You saw what I was doing, trying to cut from the bottom up, like coring an apple. Sorry, my boobs are really in the shot. I'm going to come up, I think I'm going to come up on the sleeve. You know what? This is where the best color seems to be, up around the neck. Let me see if I can get at that. Maybe I should just use a different t-shirt. I'm just going to use a different t-shirt. We have no shortages of tie-dyes. Yeah, I'm going to use this one instead. This one's got a little more yellow than I wanted, but at least it's got some good color. And this one also has no side seams. But yeah, Judy, it was super sad. It was super sad. And the saddest thing about that stupid library thing was the day that it happened. Apparently this guy was like on a rampage. You know, he was not well, so it's like he's only obviously accountable to a certain extent. But he was on a rampage, and he messed up some stuff at the pizza place that's like one block over, and at the booze store, like there's a booze store across the street. He was absolutely on a rampage. So it was a bad day for him, and you know the police picked him up, so it was really a bad day for him. But it was scary because earlier in the day, my daughter Jocelyn, I have like a little lemonade stand that I have set up for her, and she was out there at the lemonade stand selling lemonade and some of her Pokemon cards. And you know, I still like have nightmares about what if this guy came by an hour earlier while she was doing her Pokemon thing and sitting out there, you know, 2 feet, not even 2 feet from the little library while he was smashing up the neighborhood. You know, that makes me so nervous. And since then, I know she wants to go out and do her lemonade stand now that the weather's getting better, but I'm just having a hard time saying yes to that without somebody sitting out there with her. She liked sitting out there by herself because it was like she was independent and, you know, but you see what I mean. The sun is moving faster than I can seem to move. So hang on. I'm shuttling things around. Sun is really coming in now. I didn't think I'd have this problem because it was so overcast all morning. I thought, well, this is going to be perfect, right? But it's really, really bright. Whew. Okay, let me move you and come back here. And it's still really, really bright. I'm going to bring you here. Yes. Whew. Let's see. They are Dawn. Dawn says dogs are the best. Oh my gosh, you're saved us from a house fire. You're kidding, in November? Oh my word. That is amazing. That's one of these like hero dog stories, right? That is completely amazing. And I'm very glad to hear it too. So, all right. Let me get my hook back over here. Do you see how I just cut off the sleeve for this? And with something like this, right, I cut off the little selvage, which is the cuff, right? Because you could use that, but I don't need to use that. So, wait a minute. Still fooling around. I'm going to cut the sleeve up like this, like a little labyrinth. And then I'm going to try hooking that into the background. I want a continuous strip if I can, so I don't have to keep grabbing a new strip. So I'm going to cut it like a little garden maze, right? So I'm going to do like that. I'm going to come into the shade so you can see me better. I'm going to do like that and then like this. Because if I cut it right across, then I've effectively cut a strip, right? So now I'm cutting over here. This is like the flat kind of paring an apple. Oh, I screwed that up. Did you see what I just did? Yeah, I screwed that up. Now I've got a piece that's this long. But I meant to do it like a big zigzaggy thing. That's all right. I'm still going to start plugging it into my guy. I'm excited. I might actually just cut it into 2 pieces. Got to be flexible, right? I'll bring you closer to me. And let's fill in his little teacup face. I like the idea of the tie-dye because the reason it's so faded, I think, is because the kids wore the tie-dye shirts for so long that they really got washed out. And those dyes are not, if you get those tie-dye kits from Michaels, they are great and it's fun for the kids, but like the color does not last, like at all. So be thinking about that too. If you're ever thinking, oh, look at all the dyes that are in this kit. It's only $10. Maybe I should get this. Yeah, maybe you should, but just be aware that we were talking at the beginning of the episode about things being color fast. That stuff is not super color fast. Of course, these have been through the laundry like 100 times. And, well, now that I'm thinking about it, it's actually not too bad. They've been through the laundry about 100 times. And the kids have been like, in the ocean, in the salt water, with their clothing on, I'm sure, many times. So they've done okay, but these are not the kind of colors that we're used to using or seeing. I think red wine would do a lot better than this. Ooh, let me hear Ryan's idea. Idea for inspiration. What song has everyone been listening to? Okay, I want to hear your answers. That is a great question. I'll answer since I'm mic'd, and I'll say I listened to the song Poetry Man by Phoebe Snow about 20 times in the car while I was driving over. It's one of my favorite songs. It is so pretty and sweet and dark and romantic too. You're going to try this with tie-dye, Marilyn. You should. And especially if you tie-dye your own shirt and then don't wash it, right? Or not even a shirt, right? Anything, a cotton sheet, anything, and then don't wash it, your color would be way more vivid. There's lots of different color families for tie-dyeing too. If you do this with kids or whatever, there's like the neon set, the Easter pastel set, all kinds of sets. And speaking of which, I'm going to pull this tail through if it kills me. Linda says, one of my all-time favorite singers who's truly a singer, songwriter, and a storyteller is William Prince. Linda Ann, I don't know William. His album, Earthly Days, is one of my favorites. Oh, that is amazing. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait a minute. Now I'm getting all confused. Okay, Linda Ann, can you send me that recommendation so I can look it up on Shopify? And Hopeful Holler makes Where Did You Go by Blue October. I love Blue October's the rock band, right? I'm thinking of the right thing, right? And they also did that song about the balcony. Am I thinking of the right band? Because if that really tattooed guy with a really strong, emotional, passionate voice, if that's, I think that's Blue October. I love listening to their songs, and I've only just recently got into them. But he is super passionate. Marilyn says, I used to like Procyon dyes. Procyon dyes, I don't know if I know Procyon dyes. Interesting. Now I'm really reading this thread. Judy says Kool-Aid powder is actually really effective and kid safe for dyeing wool products. Absolutely. Absolutely. And with Easter coming up, all the paws, Easter dyeing sets, right? All of those things are great for dyeing anything. And also fun for kids. So yeah, Judy's absolutely right. Food coloring, Kool-Aid, the Easter dye tablets, right? Because that's a really controlled way of handling the dye. All your food dyes, like the Kool-Aid, like the Easter tablets, the PAS, all that stuff. You know, it's not just the PAS, which is the PAAS, that's the super expensive. It's all of the dollar store brands too also have those dye tablets. And if you can get them for $1, there's a bunch of tablets in there that will do some nice dyeing of anything for you. So that's a lot of fun. Dave says, song suggestion. Oh, Procyon dyes, acid dyes. Yes, absolutely. Okay, I was wondering if it was a brand. Yeah, I use all acid dyes, I have to say. Oh my God, Dave, I just put Laughter in the Rain. Ooh. Oh no, wait a minute. Is that, I hear laughter in the rain, do 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 do, with the one I love. Is that one? I just put that into my Spotify, if that's the case. That is so funny. And Sharon says, I live near a cake decorating store, so I've used icing dye. Absolutely. All of those food dyes that we're talking about, you can use with your regular pots and pans, right? You know that, right? It's just the Procyon dyes, the chemical dyes, and the garment dyes, right? If you're like leaching color out of lining or clothing, those garment dyes are still chemical dyes, so cannot be used with your food stuff. But all of these food things that we're talking about, frosting, Kool-Aid, Jell-O, right? All of these make great dye mediums. Oh, Dave, that's it. That is so funny. I was doing a deep dive for 70 songs that like I really like, and that was one that came up somehow on a list with others that I hadn't heard from a while. I love that 70s music. I keep trying to think of the ultimate kind of karaoke songs. Like next time I get up for karaoke night, I'm going to cut more of this tie-dye because I really like the way it's coming out. I've got you in the shade now because I was dying in the heat, but I really like the way, see how it's a little bit color changey, but it's not super overpowering? No, I don't want to use that. I want to use more color. I keep thinking of what, like some good songs for, like obviously a female voice, since I am a female, for the next karaoke night. And I was thinking of Laura Nyro, who I love. I was thinking of course, Wedding Bell Blues, the one that's like, Bill, right? And a super 50 sounding song. And what's the other one I really like? Let's go down by the grapevine, drink my daddy's wine. Sweet Blindness. Sweet Blindness. Oh, I love her music. I love her songs. But I keep looking for more that are like, that people haven't heard of in a while, that would be super fun for a karaoke night. So yeah, that's what the deep diving is all about. Ventura Highway, that's a great song too. That's a great song. That's one of the ones I never get tired of hearing, right? It's always really good. And Monique says, I've been dyeing with turmeric. Okay, so natural dyeing. Fantastic. What kind of color does that make, Monique? Is that kind of like a saffron-y type of a color, like an orange yellow family, the way it comes out? I bet it has a big range. Linda Ann says, you know what I love about the color of teacup with variegated color is that it reminds me of the sun shining on a beautiful teacup and reflecting off of it. Such a fun project. It totally does. It absolutely does. All of these like luster colors and these faded tie dyes. I'm going to do a video soon because one of the projects for the first book, it's called, I hope I can say this, it's called Ghosts of I think it's called Ghosts of Summers Past. Right? I wrote the chapter and I kind of forgot. Yellow. Thank you, Heidi. And I used it's a granny crochet block crocheted rug, right? And I used for each block one of my kids' tie-dye shirts that they had grown out of. That's why it's called Ghosts of Summers Past. But, sorry, my throat is really bothering me. I am totally better, but my throat is really bad. Each t-shirt made about one granny square that was like 3 generations out of the center because they were so little. And like there were 5, 6, like that kind of age, and their shirts were tiny. But I loved using their tie-dye shirts for that too, because each block, each granny square that makes up the rug represents a different t-shirt completely that they don't fit in anymore. And now that it's been photographed and I can use that rug on the floor, it's really nice to be able to see it and use it. And it can go right in the wash because I know that all of the tie-dye shirts have been washed 10 million times, like this one. I'm going to do a little bit more with the teacup. Hibiscus I like a lot too to dye with. What color will that make, Heidi? Candace says, my car stays on the 70s station. Gypsy Queen by April Wine. Dave, I don't know that one. Ooh, I don't know that one. I'm going to have to check that out. That sounds exciting. Yeah, I like 70s music too. I love like Bread. Obviously, I love Barry Manilow. So I love a lot of the really slow, soft music. I love Jim Croce and Cat Stevens. I love that kind of music. I love this conversation about music too. This is really fun to bring up, Ryan. That's really fun. You love you some Tammy. Oh, funny. Oh, Hibiscus Red, of course. Heidi, what's wrong with me? I've got a Dharma dye that's called Hot Hibiscus, and it is the kind of crazy pink that is on a par with, if you know the Cushing color Flower Power, it's one of their only new colors. It's that kind of crazy. It's not as pink, it's more fuchsia. But yeah, Hot Hibiscus is like one of my favorite colors to play with. I think the Dharma dyes remain my favorite, although some of them seem to go off like fairly quickly. I'm working around the eyeball of the teacup right now, just so you know. It's a bit of a push because, you know, I've got this thick material, I've got this thin hook, and I've got this tight rugwarp. Right? This is the perfect storm of contention here, but we're going to make it work. Yeah, I love Hot Hibiscus. Oh my God, Sharon, I love Carole King too. I pulled up the Gilmore Girls record the other day. Remember how they did like Where You Lead as the theme song for the Gilmore Girls? And I thought, oh, I bet all of the songs on the record are going to be amazing. Because if you remember that show, they always had like the street musician out there, and he always played like such cool songs that I never heard before. But I have to say, I'm listening to one of the volumes of it, and it's definitely not my favorite. Like, there's some good songs on there, and the Carole King song is on there. It's a different version of it, the version they use on the show, which is great. But I didn't really like the other songs. I thought, this can be like a hotbed of good unknown songs. And it kind of wasn't. It was a bit disappointing, but that's on Spotify too. You could listen. Monique says, yeah, all different shades of mustard colors and golden yellow. Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, getting into these natural dyes is going to be a lot of fun. And getting into foraging is going to be a lot of fun. And we are going to have to create some kind of centralized hub so that we can figure out between us all the different, not just regions of the U.S. that we're in. The Troubadour guy, Dawn, that's him. Isn't that like such a great show? I mean, really. Oh, I love that show. But we're going to have to create some kind of centralized database so that wherever you are in the U.S. or wherever you are in the world, you can kind of log the plants that you can find and the colors they make, right? So we have books on this, but it'd be just fun to have like a quick kind of go-to like reference, you know, between us where Monique can say, well, I'm using hibiscus and I'm using turmeric. And I can say, well, in my backyard, I found Queen Anne's lace and I found whatever. And yeah, it'd be kind of fun to just throw those things like into the hat. I'm going to log off in a minute. I'm having a lot of fun going around the edge here, but you can see I cut this piece of t-shirt a little bit too wide. It was like 1 inch wide. Oh, Dawn, I love that show too. You know what I have to do before we log off? I have to find a little bit of pink for the cheek. I'm not going to make it if I don't. I think this is the only pink I can find, right, in Jossie's heart dress. Let me see if I can get this to line up. I'm going to see if I can catch one of these hearts. I'm going to do some sort of localized chopping right here. Let me just chop this piece. See if I can pop it into the cheek a little bit. It's always hard to force anything in this life, isn't it? But particularly loops. Let me see if I can do this. If not, I'll have to search. I'll have to forage for... I'm going to make it thinner. Look at me cutting another hugely thick piece when my wrist is about to crack. All right, let's see. See if we can get this into his cheeks. He looks like a mess right now because not all of it's defined, right? Rock on Gold Dust Woman. Rock on Gold Dust Woman. Oh, Fleetwood Mac. Absolutely. ABBA. Oh, I love Mamma Mia, Lisa. I love Mamma Mia. Oh, I love Mamma Mia. We saw that, me and my sister, my friend Dawn, she's actually my sister's friend. She does high school musicals a few towns over in Cheshire. And a few years ago they did Mamma Mia, and I think I told you this. I was like, wow, this could go in lots of different directions because high school kids doing, you know, that show wasn't fantastic. But we're going to go see, me and my sister and my friend Kim are going to go see Adam's Family on tomorrow night, Thursday night, at the same school. This is not working. You can see how this is like not working. I think maybe my outlining is too thick. I think we might have to revisit that. Definitely pulling that out because trying to like harvest pink from these tiny hearts on this dress, it's not working. I'm going to love using this as a pattern, but it ain't going to do it for this project. So let me come back to you here. Hey, and let me put this aside and let me make sure I've got all of our comments read and honored and all that stuff. So I'm right here. There we go. I'm right here. This Apple the dog sitting on the couch. There she is. There she is, that sweet person. Let me make sure I'm all caught up with you here. Oh, God, it's so hot. Yeah, I'm second guessing myself now, as I often do. You know what I might do before we hit this again? Friday night is gallery night. So make sure that you are, if you want to send more stuff, make sure you're sending it now. And I will put it either into this Friday or if we have overflow again, the following Friday. We'll do gallery nights as often as we have stuff to celebrate, which I hope is going to be at some point every single Friday, right? That makes a lot of sense. We'll come back to this shortly, probably in a pop-up kind of a show. And I'm going to have to revisit this because I'm even second guessing the color of the teapot. What I might do next time we log on, remember how I was going to do green around in the background, like this color? I might do that next time. So I might see how that goes. What I want to do is get material on both sides of my outline so I can really see how thick the outline is. Because when I cut the calamari purple pantyhose, it was quite thick, wasn't it? So I'm going to have to see with this fine detail, it'll work. It will work. It's just a question of what works best and what am I happy with. I'm not a perfectionist, as you know, but I would like it if it looked good. Linda Ann, I do like the pastel colors. I'm just going to have to figure out if this is going to work with the face. Might be that I take the face off or that I just do like a flower or some stripes on the vase or polka dots. I might do that. If it doesn't work, and remember how with the eye I did 2 loops and 2 tails? That might be too much. I might just want to do 1 loop and hide the tails underneath, break the rule. I might want to do that. And I might not even want cheeks. So we'll see how it goes. I might not want to outline the cheeks. That's the thing, isn't it? Maybe I just want a nice vivid pink where the cheeks go. That might be it. Smaller eyes. Mouth I think is fine. The outlining in the cheeks. I'm going to try before I abort mission. But it's going to be hard to get that, I think, just right. It's fun working on it, though. It's really fun working on it. And this is a bit hard to pull through. So note to self with this t-shirt material, because it's not like supple anymore. It's really rough cotton because it's been washed so much. It's a little bit hard to pull through this rug warp, the tightest backing that we use, right? So interesting. This went easy. This was like butter, as Barbara would say, but this was a bit tougher. So didn't trigger me. I'm not triggered. It's all good. We'll return to it later. But Friday night is certainly our gallery night, so we're not going to squander that by working on a live hooking thing. And look at all your great work on Friday night. Yeah, Susan, she's a rescue dog. One night when John was playing, there was like a dog rescue group there, and she was one of the dogs. She's so cute. She's looking out the window for him. She was one of the dogs who was there, and he grabbed her because she's such a good. Who's a good girl? Apple. Who's a good girl? She's a good girl, and she got such a pretty. She's such a good girl. She's all muscle. She's super, super loving, and she had the name Apple already. Look at that little face. Oh, look at that little face. You're the coolest little thing. She's the coolest little thing. Yes, she is. She's a good girl. She's such a good girl. So gallery night, Friday night, I'm looking at your music. Oh, Patsy Cline, absolute. Muriel's Wedding, Ryan, I forgot that soundtrack is fantastic. I forgot. I completely forgot. That is so funny. Let me catch. Heidi says my 21-year-old daughter loves the Gilmore Girls and the music. I think the music is so like it's contexty, like it fits with the moment and the scene of the show. But like listening to the whole song in the car, some of them are super downers, really like severe downers, and I'm thinking, whew, I need to go up, not down. But yeah, I mean, they're all good music. It's just that moment in time. And there's many soundtracks. It's not just like one. So it's worth a shot. The Association, that's never my love. Right, Karen? What else did The Association do? Going to have to put that into Spotify and check. That would be fun. You know, Melody Gardot, Robin, that is so funny because my mother-in-law loves her. And the only way I know about her is because my mother-in-law, Venda, drinks like a bottle of, I shouldn't say this, drinks like a bottle of red wine and blasts Melody and like walks around the kitchen singing off-key like crazy style. She's Dutch. So she's half crazy to begin with. See what I did there? But yeah, that's the only reason I know Melody. That is so funny. I forgot. And she's visiting next month, so I better beef up. Thank you. That's a good reminder. Yes, it is fun hooking together. Super fun show. Thumbs up, everybody. What time is gallery night? Maryland at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So careful with time stuff, but time stuff is easy, right? Because we're all, at least in the U.S., on the same time thing. It's the U.K., Monique and Jane, that is still off an hour from our usual, right? So 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday, I will be with you, and we will celebrate your work, your amazing work, because I have all that leftover work from the Friday show last week that I didn't get to, and it is glorious. So let's look at that together. It'll be tons of fun. Carol P. says, listened to the first time ever I saw your face while I was driving through the mountains. I haven't heard that forever. Is that Rita Coolidge? First time ever I saw your face. Gosh, I'm trying to think of who that is. Sometimes I listen. Who's the one that had like the da 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 da, the baby something when the circus came to town, right? I get confused with some of these 70s women that are all great. Of course, Janice Ian is great with that 17, right? I also listened to her song Stars the other day, which I thought was also really beautiful. We've got a lot more to say with our music stuff. I want to listen to some of the music that you just gave me. Incidentally, just so you know, the girl who's over at the barn right now, she just gave me her Spotify information. Her name is Clarissa Perez. And I was just listening to her music as I was walking over, and honest to God, it was like choking me up. It was fantastic. Check her out on Spotify. I'm only on to the first song because I had to log on, but it was absolutely beautiful, and what she sang live just like tore at my heart. It was so great. Roberta Flack, thank you. Roberta Flack for Every Time I Saw Your Face, and Roberta Flack, I think, for Baby Do the Circus Came to Town. Oh God, I'm gonna have to look it up. I only have a hint of what's left of that. Melissa Manchester, that's the Circus Came to Town. Dave, you are good. We should have a trivia night. We should just, who's going to win the $1 million, right? So we could all fly together and have like a pub trivia night, like just our group, while we hook. Would that be heaven or what? Honor system, whoever wins the million, this is what we're doing, right? Including me, I promise. All right, I'll see you all on Friday for cocktail night. Have a great tomorrow. I'm around at Ribbon Candy Hooking if you need me. In the meantime, I'm going to unplug for a little while, and I'm going to work on some chapters of the book. It was great spending some time with you. Keep that music stuff coming. If you think of any more great ideas, write to me at ribboncandyhooking@gmail.com. I am still looking for the ultimate karaoke set, right? So